So again, the 530 grid, which is the DNA for business, and how we can get a client for life. I'll help you get set up.
All right, cool. Thank you. Oh, reference points. Awesome.
We also have more cards on that.
All right. I am Mark Elkins, and what I do is I help people learn to start investing in real estate for profit. So I deal with people understanding business systems and processes, and I'm an analytical. So I love this thing. And if you have questions after, you're welcome to call me at 630-372-8800. 630-372-8800. If you want to look this up in your book, it's on page 5. All right? This is quickly going over, it's for those people who are new. I see some new faces here. This is the set of business processes that can be set into any business. And if you follow these systems, your business will work more effectively. You have systems now, you just don't know it. And you're following them perhaps to excel or perhaps to your detriment. And you need to get new processes or set them up properly. I love this because this is the longest business discussion I can ever have, and it is also the shortest business discussion I can have because this fits so well. I look at it as flying on a plane, and as we go over the United States, we can see the patchwork quilt of America. And everything in America functions underneath us under a system that we can't see. And as we go lower and lower, we can see that there are fields of wheat and fields of grain, and there are cities. And as we go lower, we can see cars and people and buildings. And as we go lower, we can see people directing traffic, and we can see the faces on people. And we go lower on, we can see inside the watch and see what makes it work. And as we go on, we can see even the systems that make nature work. And that is the 530 grid, sort of, because as we go deeper and deeper into the systems, we can see more of it. As a business owner, you should be able to see the systems in your business working without knowing necessarily what all the processes are.
Let's repeat that. Repeat that again.
As a business owner, you should be able to know what's going on with your business without seeing and knowing and understanding each of the processes individually inside of that.
Thank you.
Without knowing?
Sometimes you don't know, particularly if you have an EVA or somebody who's very skilled at making one of these individual processes work specifically, you may not even know. In fact, as a business owner, you may not want to know, right? I have a business that's involved in repairing buildings. I do not want to know how to swing a hammer. I do not want to know how to dress appropriately for safety inside of a building. Those are processes that should be happening without my knowing. But looking at my business, I can see the building being repaired. That's all I need to see as a business owner, right? Some of these processes can happen without us. And that's what Mark talks about when he's talking about stepping away from his business. If all of these processes work correctly, then he can step away because he knows that he's got professionals in place who handle each segment of these businesses and each of these processes. But we have the 530 grid. The most important part of this, of course, is identifying targets, developing and delivering a message, and tracking 100% of your leads, grouping your people and messages, implementing strategic strikes, and, of course, asking key sales. That's the golden triangle part of this. But today we are concentrating on how do you get client-for-life relationships. This is a big set of processes here. And I want to relax for just a moment and say, you know what? This could be the 525 grid, and this could be the 525 grid inside. Because this is all about building relationships. Tom Kuntz calls this the second sales cycle, right? When was the last time you identified your best clients and did some good things for them? There's a lot of things that we can know and understand about this process that have more to do with natural law than they have to do specifically with how each of these processes work. It's about understanding the people that you're working with. This is about natural laws, like helping people reach beyond their dreams, right? This is about taking personal responsibility for the success or failure of the actions you take on behalf of your client, right? If that advertisement didn't work, maybe I didn't help the client enough. If the client is not getting to the goal that they wanted based on the work I've done, it's got to be my fault. because I maybe didn't do the job that they wanted to have done. Or I didn't understand as well what it is that they really wanted in order to be able to create that. There are other principles in natural law that I love to talk about with regard to building clients for life. And one of them, Mark Boersma calls the potato chip principle. Okay? This is about getting to know and understand who your client is. How many of you see your clients face to face? Okay? A few of you. How many of you only talk to your clients by phone? That is going to be much more difficult, which is going to require much greater listening skills. Because if you're going to understand your client as well as somebody who sees them face to face and sees how their face reacts and how they cringe and how they sit and how they lean, right? You need to be able to understand what is behind the words, what those things that they're saying really mean about them, right? And you have to understand over a long time as you build a relationship with a client, what is it this person really wants, okay? I had a client, was a great client, spent about $100,000 a year with me. And one year for the holiday, I brought him a bottle of Dom Perignon. I thought, man, that's a great gift. Isn't that a good gift?
Yeah.
A bottle of Dom? Yeah? Well, over the months, as I continued to see this guy, I noticed that bottle continuing to collect dust. But I remember him saying, hey, that snacks and stuff that you sent us for the holidays, boy, that really went over big here. We all liked that, and everybody shared and talked about it. So what did I not do the next year? No bottle of Dom. Bigger and bigger baskets of snacks year after year. And sometimes I sent those snacks in the middle of the year. Why? Because I understood what the client wanted, right? I understand what he needed, and I built my relationship. Now, in box 11 here, it says send a relationship newsletter. I do not do that. Some people do. You may, and it's a good way if you can understand the needs of your clients to do that. For me, it's about understanding the individual specifically, and I don't have that many clients, right? So I could do that. If you have hundreds of clients, you can back down and do something like that. But I love box 12, all right? Feed successes into the whole system, right? What you're looking for in building a client for life is lots of people with box 12 successes that can tell your new clients and your existing clients what a great job you did for them, and remind them. Because in addition to just understanding what the client wants, we need to periodically give them a warm belly rub, another natural law, right? Mark Boersma, I love the way he describes this. He talks about it with the baby and changing the diaper, making the baby happy. But it's not just about changing the diaper. Okay, the baby's clean and dry, and okay, let's go. No, you have to give the baby a warm belly rub. You have to smile. You have to tickle the baby. You have to play a little bit. Otherwise, the baby's not going to be happy. And the same thing goes true for your clients. When was the last time you took a client for lunch? Now, the client I mentioned earlier, I took him for lunch periodically, at random intervals through the year. I'd call him up, and where did we go? Did we just go anywhere? We always went to the same place, his favorite restaurant. And when I saw him, I always asked about his grandkids, because he loved to talk about his grandkids. And I asked him about the things that were important to him. So I was building a relationship, giving him a warm belly rub, and giving him the thing that he wanted. And when I developed the product, if it didn't work, and sometimes it didn't, I would say, I remember one time in particular, I was about to lose this client. He says, you know, this thing is just not working, and it didn't go out. And I said, you know what, Neil? It's my fault. I'm really sorry. He said, how can it be your fault? He said, you know what? I tried to save a penny a piece on this product, and so I went to a different vendor, and he didn't deliver the way I wanted to, and it wasn't worth a penny a piece. I'm really sorry. Well, I changed the relationship, brought it back to, hey, Mark's a good guy, he can handle it. And I kept the business for many more years. So when you're developing client for life, you have to remember the rest of your 530 grid. Identifying specific targets within your existing clients for your new products, for your innovations, for your reminded ideas. How many of you today are reminded of an idea, something that you knew already, but you just haven't practiced it in a long time? Yeah? Now, how many of you are now going to take that same idea and go back to your existing client and say, hey, I was reminded of something, and I'd like to talk to you about that. So, anyway, that is about developing client-for-life relationships. I hope you've learned something. If you need me, again, 630-372-8800.
Wonderful, wonderful. Here's just a couple of my notes. It's the longest and the shortest business conversation you can have with somebody. Wow, that's a huge takeaway. Why? Because if somebody doesn't want to go that long, they don't have to go that long. But you know what you're going, you know why you're talking to them, you know where you're starting, and you know where you need to be. Zach? You'll also know, without seeing, okay, I wanted to get this right. By going through this process, you'll know the process, but you'll know, I want to get this right, you know that you're going to see this. By seeing this, you'll know the path you need to go without knowing all the processes involved. State that again. That was important. I was writing it down so fast.
Okay. What I said was that you can understand if this is working without understanding each of the processes.
You can understand that it's working without understanding all the processes because the client sees results, you see results.
You see results. You have faith in the system.
Faith in the system. Okay. Thank you. That was just for me. I needed that because I needed it. And everything functions at a level you can't see. But with the trust in the system, though, you know that if you're getting results that it's working.
This is particularly true when you have an EVA. These people are tremendous at making things happen behind the scenes.
Why should everyone have an EVA?
Because they will get something done while you are working on other things. And they will get those things done, important things, on a regular clockwork basis that you are not working on. So they just start to happen behind the scenes in the process. And then when you look up for whatever it is you're doing, you'll say, oh, well, that was done. I was worried about making that happen.
Right.
And eventually you just trust it. It just happens like clockwork.
Right, so everybody in here has rocks for brains if they don't have an EVA because they're trying to do the process as opposed to seeing results and knowing where they're at.
Right, and as soon as you treat your EVA not like a personal assistant, but like an expert who can make the clock tick, you got it right.
Excellent. Give it up for Mark.